All right, be honest. Have you ever bought something you didn't really need just because it was on sale? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if I told you that little impulse buy, it isn't random at all? It's actually one of the most predictable things in all of economics. So let's get into it. I mean, it's like a magnetic pull, right? That bright red 50% off sign. It just makes you stop and rethink your entire budget, your needs, everything in like a split second. So, what is it? Why is it so powerful over pretty much all of us, almost every single time? You might think, oh, that's just psychology. And sure, our brains are definitely part of the equation. But this behavior, it's not just some weird human quirk. Nope. It's a core principle, a fundamental law, actually, that explains how we act in the marketplace. And that big idea is called the law of demand. It sounds kind of formal, but really it's a simple name for a concept that explains so much about our everyday lives. I'm talking everything from your morning coffee to your weekly grocery run. Okay, so at its core, the law is actually super simple. Just think of it like a seesaw. When the price of something goes up, our demand for it goes down. And the other way around, when the price goes down, our demand goes up. It feels totally intuitive, right? And that's because we live this every single day. So, economists have a fancy term for this, of course. They call it an inverse relationship. All that means is that price and demand move in opposite directions. Price goes up, the number of people wanting to buy it goes down. But the second that price drops, whoosh, our demand just shoots right back up. And you know what? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing this everywhere. This isn't some dusty theory in a textbook. It's the actual engine that drives some of the biggest sales events we see all year long. I mean, think about it. Flipkart's big billion days, that's not just them being nice. It is a totally calculated move. They slash the prices, and what happens? A massive spike in demand. It's the exact same logic behind Mantra sales or when Starbucks does a 50% off deal. Suddenly, the line for a latte is all the way out the door. And, of course, this whole thing works in reverse, too. What happens when a basic thing like onions suddenly doubles in price? Well, we all stop buying big bags of them, right? We just buy exactly what we need to get by for the week. Our demand shrinks way down just because that price is too darn high. Okay, so it all seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? Price goes down, we buy more. Simple. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because this incredibly powerful law, it only works if a few other things stay exactly the same. So the big question is this law unbreakable? Is it just a universal truth? Well, not quite. The law of demand works like a charm, for sure, but only if the playing field stays perfectly level. And there are three golden rules, three big ifs you have to watch out for. For this whole thing to work, your income can't change, your personal tastes and preferences can't change, and the price of other similar stuff, substitute goods, that can't change either. Now, to see why these rules are so important, let's look at a super simple example. All right, to really get this, let's do a little thought experiment. Let's just forget about the whole global economy for a minute. Let's focus on one thing and one thing only: our deep love for paneer momos. Okay, so here's the scenario. Let's say you eat paneer momos 3 times a week. Your income is totally fixed, it's not going up or down, and this is the crucial part, you only want paneer momos. Your taste is locked in, you don't care about any other snacks. You see what we're doing here? We're locking everything else in place. Now, in this perfectly controlled little world, look what happens. The price of momos goes up, and you cut back. Maybe you only eat them once a week. But what happens when the price drops? Boom! You're eating them 5 times a week. Because everything else is held constant, the law predicts your behavior perfectly. It's like clockwork. All right, now for the really fun part. Let's see what happens when we start breaking those rules we just set up. We're going to change the conditions one by one and just watch as this supposedly unbreakable law starts to, well, fall apart. Okay, first up, let's mess with income. Imagine you get a huge promotion at work and your salary almost doubles. How does that change your relationship with momos? Well, all of a sudden, a small price hike on momos, you barely even notice it. You've got more money to spend, so you just keep buying them like you always did. That direct link between the price and how much you want them, it's broken. The law just doesn't apply in the same way anymore. Okay, let's hit the reset button. Your income is back to what it was. But now let's change your preferences. You're not a diehard paneer momo fan anymore. Suddenly you're thinking, tofu momos sound pretty good too. So what happens now? Well, if the price of paneer momos goes up, you don't really eat fewer momos overall, you just pivot. You switch right over to the cheaper tofu option. And there it is again. That simple price-demand connection is broken. This time because your taste changed. All right, one final test. Let's go back to the beginning. Your income is the same, your taste is the same, you're back to being a paneer momo loyalist. But now, the price of dumplings, which are a pretty close substitute, is suddenly slashed in half. Now, even if the price of your beloved momo stays exactly the same, that killer deal on dumplings is just too good to ignore. So you shift your demand over to the cheaper dumplings. Your demand for momos drops, but it had nothing to do with the price of momos changing. See, the law got disrupted again. And this is the whole point, the big takeaway. The law of demand is an amazing tool for understanding why we buy what we buy, but it really only works inside this perfect little bubble. The second your income changes, or your tastes change, or the price of something similar changes, the whole game changes. And you better believe that smart companies know this. They work so hard to influence those other things, to build brand loyalty so you won't switch, and to convince you that, yeah, you can afford just a little bit more. So next time you see that big sale sign, or you notice the price of your favorite snack creeping up, just take a second and think, are you playing by the rules of the law of demand, or are you one of the exceptions? Because once you know what to look for, you'll start to see this incredible economic dance playing out everywhere you go.